Welcome back to the Lockwood Chronicles. My name is Larissa, and today we are going over my Q2 reading wrap-up. Also the midsummer book tag. Mid-year book tag. We are here to discuss how Q2 went, and I'll try and remember what I read in Q1 so we can really make sure that we're getting a full picture. I always do the book tag questions every quarter. I like the condensed version of a quarter. I feel like I can reflect in that time and remember things better. Once the month is done or a quarter is done, it's out of my head and I have a hard time remembering what I've even read. Let's just debrief on Q2, my stats, and then I'll do a quick list of all the books that I've read so far and where you can find those in my monthly wrap-ups. We'll get into the book tag portion of it. I changed my mind. Let's do the books that I've read in the month that I read them, so that way you can go back and watch those in case there's any that you are particular wanting more in-depth review on. I'm glad we figured that out as a team. My April books were Slapshot by Chelsea Curto, Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, Rebel Witch by Kristen Sigarelli, I Hope This Finds You Well, Natalie Sue, In the Woods, Tana French, Great Big Beautiful Life, Emily Henry, and The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. May books, The Conditions of Will by Josa Hastings, Honey by Isabel Bonta, The Griffin Sisters' Greatest Hits by Jennifer Weiner, When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill, Beautiful World, Where Are You, Sally Rooney, Forever Interrupted, Taylor Jenkins Reid, My Friends, Frederick Bachman. Then in June, which that wrap-up just came out, so go check that out. Flawless, Elsie Silver, Heartless, Elsie Silver, Powerless, Elsie Silver, Reckless, Elsie Silver, Hopeless, Elsie Silver. Atmosphere, Taylor Jenkins Reid, Finley Donovan Digs Her Own Grave, El Casimano, The Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Bradley, Caught Up, Nevessa Allen, Gloves Off, Stephanie Archer, Rich Girl Nation, Katie Gatti-Tassan, Hat Trick, Chelsea Curto. So go check out those monthly wrap-ups if you want my more in-depth, non-spoilery thoughts on those books. Let's get into Q2 breakdown. So in Q2, I read 27 books. That is absurd. Actually quite ridiculous. The number of pages that I read were 11,113. My average rating for the whole quarter was 3.7. My format breakdown was I read 13 physical books, 5 audiobooks, and 9 digital Kindle books. My genre breakdown was 11 romances, 9 general fiction, 3 fantasy, 1 historical fiction, 0 YA, 1 thriller, and 1 nonfiction. All right, let's get into the good stuff. My favorite book of Q2 was Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. I mean, I just talked about this in my June wrap-up. It's tough because all of June's books are so fresh on my mind, but I had a really good reading month in June. Lots of 5 stars. This one definitely was my favorite. It's an Enemies to Lovers. It is the 4th book in the Vancouver Storms series dealing with Alexi and Dr. Georgia Green. It is one of my favorite hockey romances, an amazing series, and it is spicy, but it is fun, it is flirty, the found family that takes place in it. My favorite audiobook of Q2 was Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. This is a duet narration, which I definitely favor. I love duet narration. They are actually reading their speaking lines in the other person's POV. So for instance, Junior, when it's his POV in this one, anytime that Lauren speaks during his POV, it is actually the female voice actor that is speaking instead of those voice actors making more feminine or masculine voices like in typical audiobooks. I love duet narration. So this is the second book in the Into the Darkness series trilogy, maybe. Lights Out is the first, and Lights Out audiobook is still my favorite audiobook. It was so good. This is a dark rom-com, light on the comedy. It wasn't super funny like Lights Out was. Mafia, spicy content creator, but the voice actors were phenomenal. While this wasn't my favorite audiobook or book in general, I highly enjoyed the experience while listening to it. Even in the smidge of vlog that I captured me listening to this, I was wanting to listen to the audiobook more than watching YouTube when I was meal prepping, which is very rare. This was very sex positive, as well as had some political discussions regarding the nature of the spicy content creator, mafia, romance, but he wants to get out of the mafia. That seems weird. And then my favorite nonfiction read of Q2, which was my only nonfiction read of Q2, Rich Girl Nation by Katie Gatti-Tassan. Again, I went over this in my June wrap up, so I'll be kind of brief here. This is not a beginner's guide to personal finance, and it also takes a more feminist approach to it. My recommendation would be to read Financial Feminist by Tori Dunlap, implement her beginner finance tips and all of that stuff. I feel like that's a really good like 101 finance. This is a very good follow-up to that, like a 201 or a 301. A little bit more in-depth on when you get past the basic finances. This is definitely one I will be listening to. It is a really good audiobook, by the way. I love her podcast. This is definitely one I will go back to time and time again in different stages of my life. And then my least favorite book of quarter two was In the Woods by Tana French. I did not like it. I did not care. It seemed like it was a very whiny man. Oh my gosh, this guy was insufferable. It made me really reflect on I need to have the confidence of an average white man. He just thought he was like hot shit. All the girls wanted to be with him, blah, blah, blah. He was just so insufferable. Maybe I should tell you what it's about. This guy is an investigator from the murder squad. It takes place in Ireland, and him and his partner are extremely close. Everybody thinks they're dating, but they are just besties. They have like a brother and sister vibe, but everybody else is like, oh, you're together. I'm like, no, but they just do everything together. They go to investigate this murder that has happened with a 12-year-old girl, but the connection to this place where this girl got murdered is where he grew up, and two of his best friends went missing and have never been found. It is an unsolved case. He was out there with him and he's the only one that returned, but he has no recollection of what happened to him as a child. Thinks there might be a correlation with this case and his case, but he's not sure. And so we're kind of trying to solve both cases at once. You don't solve one of the cases. And it was the most frustrating thing because I'm like, I wanted to solve them both. To top it all off, he is just annoying and selfish and self-centered. It was a long audiobook too. That's the only reason I kept going, is I'm like, I want to know what happened to one of these cases, to both cases specifically. And we don't even solve one of them. I can't. That was my least liked book. Best sequel you've read so far. I would say Heartless, Powerless, Reckless by Elsie Silver. Does it count? If we're only going a sequel as the second book in the series, then Heartless, obviously. Powerless was my personal favorite, but so dang close in the running. It is part of the Chestnut Springs series. It is a small town cowboy romance series. Cade and Willa's story, and he is grumpy and she is sunshine, and he is looking for a nanny for his son, and it is single parent trope. It's spicy, it's fun, it's got the vibes of summer. That was such a fun series. Ate that up. I read the entire series in a week. My biggest surprise in quarter two, Honey by Isabel Banta. I did not expect to like this one as much. It is very Y2K, female pop star, morphing into teenage, into young adult, and then to adult, and how society really does not like that shift of girl to womanhood. It's great commentary on that time period in the early 2000s and what female pop stars had to go through, as well as just the music industry in general. I was very surprised. I had been putting this off for so long. Newest fictional crush from quarter two is Jasper from Powerless. Love a hockey boy. And then we can also say Alexi too. This is going to be controversial. I'm also going to say Hayden from Great Big Beautiful Life. I know so many people did not enjoy this book, or it was not their favorite. It wasn't my favorite of Emily Henry's books too. I personally enjoyed this book. It was not my favorite, but it wasn't my least favorite by her. I really liked the storyline. I went in no expectations. Common critique with this book. People really did not believe or enjoy the romance between Alice and Hayden. They said there was no substance and that he was just kind of there, a stale bread. I loved Hayden. Looks like he can kill you, but it's actually a marshmallow. And also, maybe I just like a man without substance. I found him endearing. Books that made you cry in quarter two. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I absolutely sobbed. And again, another like controversial one where people didn't really enjoy or they absolutely loved. I really loved this book. Sobbed hysterically reading this book. It really struck a chord with me. One of my grandparents passed away from Alzheimer's. This is about Xavier and Samantha is moving back to California after a really great first date with Xavier, but she is moving back to California to help with the care of her mother. Her mother has been diagnosed with dementia. Again, regarding that Alzheimer's issue and dementia and somebody losing their memories, that really struck a chord. Knowing how hard that can be, scary that can be for someone to not recognize the people around them and not have those memories, but also sometimes have those memories. And I remembered that interaction with my grandparent when we did go down to visit them. It would be fine sometimes, but then completely switch personalities, it seemed like. It's a really tough thing to witness. Xavier and Samantha try to do the long distance thing, and the major critique with this one was it always seemed like Xavier was going above and beyond to make this work, and Samantha wasn't really giving that back. And I agree. I think it did a great job of having that rom-com element with something heavier and more realistic too. Another book that made me cry in quarter two was The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Jeez Louise, I sobbed during this. This is specifically following two sisters in World War II in France, difficulties that they faced to try to keep things moving and going, and just the struggles as well as their role in the war too. I'm not going to talk any more about it though. All right, let's talk about books that made me happy. Please. Obviously the Chestnut Spring series, I just was so giddy reading it. I absolutely loved it, devoured it, as well as, again, gloves off. I was giddy reading this. A new release you haven't read yet, but want to. I honestly don't know if I want to read this one or not. I do. I'm freaking nervous to read it, and that is Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh. This is on my TBR for the month of July because I've heard it ends off on a cliffhanger, so I'm nervous to read it because there is a cliffhanger and we don't know when the next book is coming out. It is extremely emotional, hard-hitting topics in these books. Go in with caution. There is a lot of trauma that happens in this series, but it is one of my favorite series. It is one of my favorite series. I do want to read it, but I also don't want to read it. I'm so scared. And then most anticipated release for quarter three. I haven't updated my new release books, so the only new release that I'm aware of is Accomplice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. And this is the third book in that series. It's assistant to the villain. Think Tangled vibes. That's what I picture the kingdom to look like. It is very fairy tale-esque, but with an adult twist on it. There are more adult topics going into it. It's a really fun series, more of like a cozy fantasy. If you know of any books that are coming out in quarter three, so July, August, September, please let me know what they are in the comments below. I would really love to know because I haven't looked that far ahead. Okay, well that's the mid-year check-in. Cool. Thanks for being here. Feel free to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any other bookish content, as well as like this video. I would really appreciate it. I have left all the questions in the discussion box below. That way, if you want to answer one of them, all of them, they're there for you. Well, with that being said, respect others, respect yourself, and do something amazing with your day. Thanks. Bye.